So let's go down, look at, if you can make it a little bit bigger, where he's referencing the actual numbers. So the open, yes, there we go. If you look at number 4, those two request number, the ones that end in 101924 and 011824, those are the two critical mention open records. You cite both of those, correct? All I'm asking is if you're citing those.
10924044, yes, I'm citing 2.
Okay.
2 open records requests.
And we can agree those are the two, we've already gone through the numbers for the record, those are the 2 open records in regards to critical mention, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you said in regards to those records, you cannot produce the records we seek, correct?
I also said, as it relates to your request, those 5 things to view electronic communication, let me see, as written on January 24th, is not reasonably calculated to locate the records you seek. Can I explain why?
Just,
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Vaughn, I'm going to ask you about the second question, but I was going to ask you about the first one first, and I was trying to finish that. And I just, if we can stay on track, I will let you answer whatever you want.
Perfect.
The first line says, as such, we cannot produce the records because you do not maintain responsive records. I'm only talking about that line, okay?
Yes.
That's what that line says, right?
Yes, that's what that line says.
You wrote that line.
I wrote that line.
Okay. So when you wrote this, you were telling me that you did not maintain responsive payment records.
That's not what I'm saying. No.
You did not maintain responsive contracts.
That's not what I'm saying. No.
You did not maintain responsive analytics.
That's not what I'm saying. No.
Okay. You did not maintain responsive emails.
That's not what I'm saying. No.
Now let's go to the next line.
May I tell you what I am saying?
I assume you're saying you do not maintain responsive records.
Well, instead of assuming, why don't we let the witness do what he wants to do and tell us why?
Great.
So, we said that you gave me my first critical mention open records request, right?
I'm sorry?
You gave me my first critical mention open records request that I responded to on January 18th.
No.
On this, that you got on January 18th, the first open records request, the 5 things.
That's the second one. The first one was January 9th. The second one was January 8th.
The 5 things, critical mention.
Yes.
You accepted, you received those documents, that file was closed out. The second one, we're on the same page? You said, hey, I need an analytics graph. Based on this, number 4, I am telling you, I gave you all responsive documents. In the second one, you did not bring anything else up. The only thing that you brought up was analytic drafts, to which I responded in the second sentence, I don't even know what you're talking about. So again, when you gave me the first request, I responded. When you said the second request, you brought 1 issue. So the first sentence is related to the first one. I gave you responsive documents. I assumed that you had everything that you needed. When you gave me the second one of those 5 things, you only brought forth 1 thing. That 1 thing is addressed in the second sentence, which says, I don't know what you're talking about. So that is how I handled number 4.
Okay. We've agreed. This request asks for 5 things, right?
For the record, you're referring to item number 4 on that
Yes.
document on the
For the record,
screen?
I am referring to request that ends in 010924, the first critical mention request. That request, I asked for 5 things, correct?
Yes.
When you wrote this letter, I still had not received those 5 things. I received part of them, but not all of them.
I did not know that when I wrote that letter.
Okay.
What I did know when I wrote that letter was based on your second request for the record, last 3 digits, 824. You made mention of the first one, which only talked about analytics graphs. So I assumed the first one was complete. You had everything that you needed. The first one being last 3 digits, 924, done. The second one, 824, I assumed that was the only thing at issue. I addressed that 824 in the second sentence.
So you assumed that this was completed, but you did not know that.
Let me tell you why I assumed it. The answer is yes. The reason why I assumed it is because when you brought forth 824, you referenced 924, and as you stated, there were 5 things you were looking for in 924. In 824, you only sought 1 thing. I would assume, I hope I'm not giving you more credit than you deserve, that if you was unhappy with 924, just like you said as it relates to 824, I'm missing analytics, you would have brought forth those things in 824. You didn't. I assumed 924 was done.
Is it possible that I believed that you had complied with 010924 and given me any existence payments, contracts, and that I believed that they clearly didn't exist because you didn't give them to me?
When it comes to
Your Honor,
you,
objection, Your Honor's false speculation.
I asked if it's possible.
It's pretty argumentative, but I'm gonna let him answer. Go ahead.
thank you, Your Honor. When it comes to you and what I think you believe, it can be anything, Ashley Merchant.
Okay, listen, everybody, we need to dial all of this back. The questions are, I feel like instead of being educated, I'm listening to an argument, and I'm tired of listening to an argument. I would like to be educated about the processes that Mr. Bond follows to perform his duties, and about what you believe, Ms. Merchant, to be the shortcomings of whatever those processes are, but I'm not getting that. I would also remind everybody that I can read quite well, and that most of what we're arguing about is reflected in written documents that are part of the record that I can review. Now, to the extent that the parties wish to understand what was meant by those words, those are fair questions. But half of our time has been spent getting people to agree that the document says this, or that the document says that. And I feel like if we would try to take off our, let's just, everybody take a deep breath, and please try not to continue to argue with one another. And that applies to both Ms. Merchant and Mr. Bond in terms of trying to answer the questions so that the court can understand what processes are followed and whether or not they were followed and should have been in this case. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Ms.
Go ahead,
Bond,
Ms. Merchant.
when did you first learn that I had not received the things in my first request?
The first critical mention request
Yes.
on your January 24th letter. That's when I realized, no, let me be very clear. On the first request, on the January 19th email, when you had made reference to the first one, you said that I am receipt of your records. These things are outstanding. That is when it was elevated to me, and that's when I became aware that you was missing analytic graphs from critical mention.
When did you first learn that I had not received the contracts that I requested in my first open records?
This lawsuit.
When did you first learn that I had not received the payments?
This lawsuit.
When did you first learn that I had not received the emails?
You did receive emails.
All of the emails. When did you first learn of that?
This lawsuit.
When this lawsuit was served?
No. During this preparation for this hearing.
So this lawsuit was served 7 months ago? Is that when you learned that I hadn't received any of these items?
Objection, Your Honor, was asked and answered. That question was asked and answered.
I'm going to overrule the objection. I'm just trying to, I don't understand you to be making an argument. She's just trying to direct the witness's attention to a particular date. Go ahead.
When you say you learned about it when this lawsuit? Was it when the lawsuit was initially filed?
No, during the preparation for this particular hearing.
So just recently?
Recently, as it relates to critical mention and the lack of compliance, as you allege, with the first open records request. Because again, I resolved that matter, and again, the second one was brought up to me, and of those 5 things, you only made issue of 1, which I responded to on January 26th.
And I'm going to go to Merchant 0011. If you want to take a look at that. So this, when I got at the top to please log in and view the letter attached, that letter was from the Office of the County Attorney. Did you have anything to do with the drafting of that letter or this entry into the portal?
I don't know what letter you're referring to, I'm sorry.
It's at 0362 if you want to pull that. So, and just so the judge, so we can educate her for a minute, because I have one summary. When this says that on the portal, I get this email, and then I have to go to the portal to see the letter, right?
I take you at your word.
Okay, well, We'll have to go through this one. All right, so this letter. This letter that was received, and you can see it's got the open records request, and again, it's merchant 0362. This letter that comes from the Office of the County Attorney, it says to please log into the portal to see the letter attached. The request is being extended for research. That was sent on January, I think it's January 25th, January 25th. Did you have anything to do with this letter?
No.
And if you go to 0364, this is the next letter. This is February 7th. It says due to widespread outages, the request has been extended. Did you have anything to do with this letter?
So it's going to be hard for me to explain. At this time, it was a cyber attack. The county attorney, because we use the same portal, gave us a template letter that we all use. So I can't make reference to this particular letter, but I do know that we, my office, had to send all requesters, including you, an update because of the cyber attack, and that letter appears to be a letter that I sent for all open records requesters at the time.
So this was sent February 7th. This was after you sent me the letter that said you didn't have your responsive documents.
I cannot speak to this particular letter. You said, look at this letter. I know that this was a template that so many people use. So I don't know if I did not send you anything on February. I don't know. That letter was sent to everyone around that same time on February saying, hey, it's a cyber attack. Things will be delayed because we have limited access and things will need to change. As referenced earlier in our conversation about why the portal may change, and I alluded to cyber attack, this was a cyber attack. This is a general letter that wasn't just sent to you, it was sent to so many different other people because the cyber attack impacted how we handle open records and what we can do, how we can research and respond.
You can skip ahead to merchant 0167. This is a document out of your business record certificate from August 30th. Did you redact that redaction that you see in the middle of the page?
No, I did not.
Okay. You certified these records and signed a certificate and an affidavit, correct?
I did sign an affidavit that is correct, assuming that this record is in the 197 that I certified?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's the question?
Did you certify these records as complete and accurate?
The 197?
Yes.
The answer is yes.